good evening, viewers. We are here today with a very esteemed guest, Dr. Saroj Dubey. And Dr. Saroj Dubey has been in an inspiring journey from being a doctor, a gastroenterologist, to coming to become an author. So, welcome, Doctor. Welcome to Lai Bhari Purneri Studio.
Thank you so much, Rashmi, and thank you all the viewers for listening to this. I'm so grateful to you for inviting me for this chat.
Yes. So, I would also like to welcome you to the cultural city of Pune, because I believe Pune is quite an inspirational city with lot of poets, authors, and lot of cultural interventions happening in Pune.
Absolutely. In fact, that's why, we chose to come to Pune also for the a book promotion also, because we know that this is a cultural city and people love reading and love to talk about, books and authors.
Dr. Saroj, I may call you by Dr. Saroj. So you can call me Rashmi during the conversation, not an issue.
Okay.
So I would just like to ask you, like, it's very inspiring, a doctor writing a book as an author, right? Because doctors are supposed to be very busy people, and busy schedule, tight schedule, and in that schedule and all the moments, you thought of writing a book as an author, right? So I think the book really is aimed at inspiration for the new generation as well as the middle-aged generation. And I just would like to know what inspired you first to become an author.
Okay. Yes, you know all about doctors. Your husband is such an esteemed doctor, so you know our schedule. So, very rightly said that we have a very busy schedule. Now, what happened, Rashmi, like I'm still a full-time practicing gastroenterologist, and I work as, I have a busy schedule, and this work was going on well. In between, what happened is there was an incident which actually, was quite traumatic, and, it shook me. There was a patient on whom I had performed an ERCP. That is a kind of a endoscopic surgery.
It's a procedure.
It's a procedure which is done for, like with the gallbladder, we have a bile duct which is connected. So we remove the stones from the bile duct by endoscopy. So I had done a surgery. It was a young lady, and the endoscopic surgery had seemingly gone well. But later on, the patient developed complications. She developed a perforation, which happens rarely, say in 1%. Now, the thing is, in this case, sometimes when there's perforation, we feel that it should be repaired by surgery. And the surgery was also done. But somehow, one thing led to another, and the patient continued to deteriorate. And eventually, we lost the patient. Somehow, that incident, Rashmi, it shook me. Although as doctors we face these things all the time,
right?
But actually before that only my journey of meditation and mindfulness, studying books had started. So maybe there was something, the ground was fertile, and this incident kind of happened and shook me, and I wanted to explore more deeply about how things suddenly change. Suddenly everything happened and it turned my life upside down, because there was a lot of anger, lot of hurt. I was feeling hurt and very sad and in grief. And I thought this sort of thing can happen to anyone. It can happen to my family, someone's illness, death. So I wanted to explore what is the reality of life, what is more about happiness, what is permanent, what is temporary. And in this process, I underwent a lot of reading, meeting people, retreats, a lot of teachers, and there was a lot of clarity. Towards the end, I realized that I have to share this message with people. And that is what inspired me to write the book. So this whole journey of, going through that journey, that trauma, coming out of it with acceptance, mindfulness, that actually helped me and motivated me to write and share it.
So this is quite inspirational. Ki one incident shook you so much ki the inner author came out and created what you are. So again, let me come to the book. Ki why the title RX for resilience?
Yeah, that's a very good question, Rashmi. And in this, as you know, RX in our doctor's language stands for short form for prescription.
Prescription.
So whenever we write a prescription, we'll write RX. And resilience is, of course, the process of bouncing back from any unfortunate or very difficult situation. In the process of my healing, what I realized was there was a lot of grief and lot of despair, lot of unhappiness also, because I was feeling it. Mostly what happens is whenever we have these experiences, these emotions, we try to suppress it. No, like if I'm feeling a bit sad, a bit unhappy, so we try to suppress it or distract ourselves, do something else, or move away from it. Here, somehow, I realized from what I had read earlier, the books by Eckhart Tolle, The Power of Now, it's a great book.
Right.
You may have heard of it. So I realized that I have to bring these emotions closer and be totally open and present with it. Because I knew that if I just try to suppress it, it will be buried somewhere inside and it will not actually allow complete healing. My intuition was that to heal and transcend it, I have to be totally open and present. And it was a difficult process. As you can understand, all these feelings of grief and you can even call it guilt and trauma was there, and I was open to it. In the process of being open, I also one day I felt that with all these feelings there was a surrounding stillness and presence. So I'm feeling very unhappy and sad, but there's that still presence around it. That actually was very transforming for me. And I realized that whatever happens, however situations may be, there is something which is more permanent, which is more still, which is more peaceful. You can call it anything, presence, awareness, whatever. And once I had tasted that, that actually helped me in the journey of acceptance, being open, surrendering to whatever was happening. So when we finally, when I wrote the book, I described about this whole process of healing, dealing with the emotions, being present, being mindful, and surrendering to it. I realized that for us to completely heal and transcend and to become resilient, the most important thing is to be open to whatever is happening.
Right.
To be not closed down, not try to suppress it, but to be open with it, and we'll see that we are able to heal even more.
Okay.
So when I wrote, when we discussed about the topic,
Title.
it was about that we thought that RX for resilience
Right.
would be the best title.
And being a doctor, I think the word RX means a lot for you.
Yes, RX is, as you know, so I would say that they have been, I entered MBBS in 90. I got my doctor's degree in 96. So from that time, we have been writing prescriptions. Okay. But this, what I have conveyed in the book, I feel is the most important prescription which I have given.
Right.
Because whatever profession we do, ultimately we want to be in a state of peace and happiness. And so my prescription for resilience, peace and happiness would be these: to be accepting, to allow whatever is happening, not to suppress it, and kind of surrender to it.
Right. So when you started as an author, how did you find time in your busy schedule to write all this?
Yeah, you can understand very well how difficult getting the time is. And in fact, this was one of my initial inhibitions. Like, the idea was there for some years that I should write all about this and share it. Then I was thinking that how will I get the time? So I read the book, The Atomic Habits by James Clear, and some other books. And then he talks a lot about, taking small steps, making small changes, those 1% changes, small steps. So, and then I was discussing with a friend also. And what I thought is, okay, let me make a target of say 25,000 words. So that will be a decent small book, and we can do it. And I'll make a daily target of 100 words a day. That was my target. So 100 words is 3 or 4 lines. So I thought this much I can do. 3 or 4 lines, and maybe it may take 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, it doesn't matter.
Right.
Now, the magic of these, which I've discussed about in the magic of habits also, which James Clear and other authors also say.
I think that's the last chapter.
That's the last chapter, kind of summarizing everything.
Yes.
That when we make these small steps, then actually it builds up a momentum.
Okay.
So someday there'll be 100 words, then someday you get a little more time, 200 words, a Sunday will come 500 words. So before you know, you've got say 1,000, 2,000 words. And when you've got that, then you'll see, okay, I can do more. So my initial aim was only say 25,000 words. And when I finally finished it, I ended up with around 75,000 words.
Okay.
And in fact, the editor said, oh, this is too much, we need to edit it.
Oh.
So that is how this journey started.
Right. And I think I also read that you are a TEDx speaker.
Yeah.
Okay. So when it comes to TEDx talks, of course, it's a very famous forum where people talk. And you have been in Pradhikaran in Pune for the TEDx talk. So how was your experience, and how was the journey?
Yeah. So that was a really very, very fulfilling and very, I would say, life transforming kind of experience also. So this book I had written, and it was in the process of being published. Actually, it got released in February. So then when I was discussing with some of my friends and colleagues, so they would say, okay, you have talked about mindfulness, meditation and all, but we are busy people. I'm like, say, doctors or even people in the corporates. They said, tell us, is there something which we can do which does not require much time, but can, help us also? So I said, yeah, everything was there in the book, but I made it into a 15 minutes, TEDx talk. And the talk is, the topic is the art of doing and being. So being. I'll invite everyone to, if they are interested, they can read it. So why I chose this topic is that you'll agree that all the time we are running and striving and doing things, but we don't give that space to pause and, kind of be with ourselves so that we get that calmness. So if we keep on doing things, and without any being, it's like, a car going only pressing on the accelerator without the brake. So somewhere or the other, there is going to be a breakdown. So when we merge this doing and being, then it gives a sense of peace and happiness and joy. So I outlined 6 strategies in that, and they're very simple. I'll just talk. One is about presence or mindfulness.
Presence.
So when we are present, for example, if we are talking, so we are totally present and listening. But sometimes what happens is when you're talking, then we are thinking, okay, what is the next thing and the next thing?
Back of the mind.
So something all the time, we have something else, and we are distracted and we are never really present. So when we become present and use this means by an end to itself, we actually feel a lot of happiness and peace, and the quality increases, output increases, and your well-being increases.
Right.
The second is, which is a Dutch word called niksen, and the short form is non-doing. So you'll see that all the time, even when we have Sundays or holidays, we pack it. We have something ki ye bhi karna hai, wo bhi karna hai,
We are jam-packed.
We are jam-packed. Even when you go for holidays, ki ye sightseeing, that, we have so many things. So here, they say that we need to give some time not to do anything at all. Whether you are just taking a walk or just sitting idle, sitting just like that in silence. So when we give these small times, it can be maybe 2 minutes, 3 minutes, then again we kind of recharge our, inner batteries.
Oh.
The third is space. Now space, we think we know about space. Like in this room, if I ask you to just look around, then we'll see people, objects and furniture. but we don't actually see the essence of the room, which is this space.
Right.
And there's a very nice saying that between a stimulus and a response, there is that space, and in that space is the power to choose our response.
Okay.
So when we have that inner space, if someone says something, rather than immediately reacting, we can respond. We can give that extra space, and when we respond, we'll be able to respond wisely rather than just immediately getting upset. So that is about space. The fourth is savoring. So savoring is just lingering on to some pleasant experience. For example, if I may have a cup of coffee or some snacks, so most of the time we are having everything in a hurry and we are not really enjoying it or relishing it. So savoring is a small practice where you are just taking some extra time to
Enjoy
relish it and
relish.
And say, if someone gives us a compliment, we may say, "Ha, theek hai." But if someone says something negative to us, we'll immediately think about it for the next few days. So here, the research has shown that when we remember these positive moments and savor it, then we feel happier. So that is the fourth. Fifth is awe. Now, awe, when we think about it, we think about, say, maybe the Taj or Niagara or something, some great scenery or something. But actually, Rashmi, there are small moments of awe every day. Something it may be when we are present, you can see some good scenery. You're able to just say a sunrise, sunset, just when we are a bit still. So we need to, like in that I've described, that we can count 3 awe moments a day. So for awe, we don't need to go to Niagara or Taj Mahal. We can have it all
in our own surroundings, the space we are in.
The space we are in. And the last is what is called as flow. So flow, there's a very famous book, Flow, by one scientist, Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi. So that talks about when you're doing something that you're so involved in it that you lose all sense of time. It may be dancing, reading, or watching sports or something. So we need to take out these moments of flow. And we all say, I'll say in my example, I love dancing, although I'm not a good dancer.
Okay.
But, I would think, what's the point? I don't know much of dancing. At this age, I can't learn. Then I read somewhere, it doesn't matter whether you are a good dancer, and age doesn't matter. If you enjoy something, it brings you into flow, do it for 5-10 minutes. And I started doing it. And then I would look forward to those times where I would either dance or with music. So what I encourage people is that whatever brings you into flow, it can be reading, it can be driving, it can be adventure. Take out some time either in your daily schedule or in some time in the week. Okay. So these are the 6 strategies of doing and being, where we merge it and it becomes a kind of a dance of doing and being.
Right.
So this is what I give.
So it's a very unique steps that you can take, but of course they mean a lot. When I was just listening, I was also trying to bring myself into the picture. That are we doing it in life? So I think these are the sessions you usually take, because you're a coach also, right?
Yeah, I in my spare time, I love talking about these and taking classes on, again, doing and being more mindful, being more present.
Yes.
And you're talking about your own experience. I know you also have an inspiring journey where you were a microbiologist, but then you switched over because it gave you more joy.
Yes.
So you can understand.
You feel a fulfillment when you do something which is what you enjoy. So
that is again like for example, when you conduct these sessions, you're taking interviews and doing so many other events.
Yes.
So that gives you a sense of aliveness, sense of joy. So that is your flow.
Right.
And when we do things which bring us into flow, we feel that inner, vibrancy, inner aliveness.
Right.
And you'll agree that most of these strategies which I've talked about, the 6, they don't require any extra time. It's not that I'm asking that you sit for half an hour in meditation or something. No. we just in our normal schedule, we just become a little more present, little more aware, notice things, and we'll see ki, for example, if this studio, when I'm just sitting, it's such a wonderful place. You know, there it is a kind of an awe moment, that picture over there, this. So but if I was not noticing and always lost in my thoughts,
Right.
then I'll be only talking but not be able to appreciate it.
Right. And I think so many times we miss these moments
We
in life.
actually miss it
And we
most of the
fail to
time.
appreciate those moments also.
Exactly. Because when we are not present, when we are not really noticing things, then we fail. Even if the most beautiful sight is here, but we are lost in our head, so we are not able to, pause and see that.
Right.
But when we see it and notice it, then we are also full of gratitude. We feel, we are so lucky that, these things are there. Like right now in our house, sometimes we feel, I wish I had more money or a bigger car or a better job, so many things. But actually, when we notice what is there, our children, our family, our spouse, our parents, the house, the food, so there's so much to be grateful for.
Right.
But we just need to be a little still and notice, and then we become more grateful.
And sometimes with these thoughts, it will be like, my woes are lesser than the person in front. When we realize,
Absolutely.
Yes, when we go in
because actually, most of the time we are comparing. We are comparing, say, whatever I'm doing, it may be either you're earning your job or whatever. And we always, by habit, we are comparing with, someone who is doing much better. So we think that, compared to him or her, we are this thing.
Right.
But actually, if at all we want to compare, then we compare with so many people who are not so lucky as we are.
Right.
And then we realize that, we are really blessed and we should be grateful for that.
Right. Now, you being educated in Vellore as a doctor, and you practice in NCR Delhi for last so many years. So I think when you have been in Vellore, it's a quite different culture of education in Vellore, right? Vellore educated doctors always have a different culture. So when you're practicing, do these concepts of Vellore help you in your practice?
In our practice, yeah, definitely. Because in CMC, as you know, the culture was all about service and compassion and teaching, So once actually we get that background, so even if wherever we go, that thing actually we never lose it. So maybe you are going to a bigger city and more, I would say, commercial also, like and there is a lot of other things attached to it, but that those values which we have in our undergraduate days, they will always be there.
Right.
And actually, I've talked about a chapter on compassion also. So again, when we become more present and mindful, then we actually automatically start becoming more compassionate with anyone. Because what happens is that when we are lost in our thoughts, we are only thinking about what is happening to me and my work or my family. But when we become present, there is that extra space. We feel that actually all of us are connected. Somewhere or the other, we are connected. It's not that I am a separate person, separate entity, you are separate, he's separate. There is some common connection. And that beingness, that inner being, when we are kind of anchored with it, then we sense that connection, we feel more compassionate. And here, if I can add, along with compassion, I've also talked about self-compassion.
Right.
Because we often forget that. Sometimes we are very compassionate with others, our family members, our relatives, and if they are in any kind of pain or hurt, we immediately become, compassionate to them. But very often we are not compassionate with ourselves. And we become very harsh and critical towards ourselves. We blame ourselves. Like in this incident also, which I talked about. initially, although I knew that there was no kind of negligence or anything, everything went well, but still that thought was there, ki maybe I should have done something else, or something, if maybe something wrong was done, or it could have been prevented. And then in this journey of healing, of reading, of meeting teachers, I realized that actually we have to give ourselves that compassion to ourselves, because otherwise you become more guilty, and then these things aggravate. But when you become more compassionate to yourself, which is about self-compassion, then you say, okay, you did your best. That is all we can do. We can do our best, and the rest is
Leave
not
the
in our
rest.
hands. So that is, and I know a lot of, like, because I've got colleagues who are professional, a lot of women, they're handling so many things, you know, their own profession, the family, they are supposed to take care of the whole family, the children, everything. And sometimes they have this guilt feeling, ki whether I'm giving enough time to the family or not, or whether I'm giving enough time to my profession.
Right.
So they have this feeling of guilt, ki I should be doing more. And there's in the book, the chapter on self-compassion, I've discussed about Kristen, I think Dr. Kristen Neff. She has written a lot about self-compassion, and especially, you know, females, they need to give more compassion, because they are doing a lot, but still they feel as if they are not doing. No, because they are always trying to take care of
Yes, since it's Mother's Day tomorrow,
Yes.
I was just preparing for it tomorrow, and I was reading through some of the women characters also in the Bible, because I have to say. So usually, and I met for a program some ladies yesterday. So I think this book should be read by most of the women, because they will get time to know, especially when the cultural scenario of India comes. There is always a fight between whether to think about oneself or think about the surrounding and the family and the society. They come as a priority. So there are times when a woman is, you know, torn between them.
Yes, very, very.
And that is where she suffers lot of depression.
A lot of them. Very, very true. This is very true. You know, you have brought this very important factor.
Right.
Because especially in India, since we are Indians, the woman has so many roles to play, and there is a lot of pressure on her. But the most pressure is what she herself puts on herself, that I have to take care of this, that, this, and she actually kind of forgets herself.
Right.
And the thing is, we can, like, even in an aeroplane, what they say is, you first put the oxygen mask on yourself.
Yes.
Because then only you can put it on others.
Right.
You know, only when you. So that's why it's so important for all of us, but especially for women, first to, you know, take care and nurture yourself. And when you are feeling happier and feeling more fulfilled, you will be able to take care of everyone. And I, as you said, I hope this book helps women also, because these things about, you know, like when spending a few minutes maybe in silence, in prayer, in meditation, whatever, that is not actually a waste of time, because that charges your inner being. And then you are able, so that space, things like awe, flow, all these things, self-compassion, you know. So when people, especially women, they give it to themselves, and then they are recharged, so they will be able to take care of others.
Right.
And along with women, also I would encourage young people to read this book, because especially if you allow, I'll discuss about the chapter on happiness and success.
Right.
Which, because now my kids are growing up, and so many younger people also seeing. So throughout, right from childhood, we have been brought up with this formula that you chase after success. Like, say if you are in plus 2, then either you're into medical or engineering, IT, or law, or whatever. Get a very good job, you know, get the best degree, very good job, be very successful, get a successful job, and then happiness will automatically come.
Come.
This is the formula we have been brought up
Yes.
with.
For
But we have-
generations.
for generations. But we have seen that so many successful people are not happy.
Right.
And this book, The Happiness Advantage, which I've quoted, it's by Sean Aker.
Okay.
So he says with his research that this formula is actually upside down. We are concentrating on success, thinking that once we get that goal of success, this thing happiness will flow. But it's actually the other way around. And he has given research to suggest that we need to make happiness our, main fulcrum. And when we do things which make us happy, which we have all outlined about, compassion, joy, awe, flow, and when we are feeling more happy and fulfilled, then whatever we are doing, we are more satisfied and automatically we become successful.
Right.
So
that
that
is
doesn't
very
mean
important.
It's very important, and it doesn't mean that you can't be ambitious, and obviously you can.
Yes.
But you realize that it is not just by blindly going for one particular goal that you're going to be automatically happy, but it is by that the journey itself also, and seeing what makes you feel happier, what makes you feel more alive, what brings joy to you. And like in your case, I think it wouldn't have been a very easy decision for you,
Right.
to make that switch.
And that was, see, when I changed my decision, just I was discussing with you, and when I changed my decision, it was a dual mind. Like, am I doing it right? Or is it going to be a right decision? But when I realized over years, I feel ki I was, like that bondage is gone. Now I am into something which I enjoy, I like to do, and it gives me more joy and more satisfaction.
More satisfaction. So, but like you made that choice
Right.
because you somehow realized that this is going to bring you more joy and happiness. I don't think it was just for the money that you made the choice, but out of happiness. And now automatically, success is coming. For many, they may not make that choice.
Why? Because there are 2-3 things.
Yeah.
Even if I try to make a choice, there could be the surroundings or the people in your surrounding who will say, no, you are taking a wrong decision. And then you don't have your own decision. Sometimes
Yes.
it does happen, especially in case of a woman, in case of a youngster. There are so many other factors which influence your decision.
Totally.
So in this case, it makes a lot of difference, right?
Yes, I know your family background, the
Right.
support system, everything makes a difference.
Right.
Na? And I'll only like to share that. But sometimes when you are convinced that what you are thinking is the right decision, then just by your conviction you'll be able to convince your family members. Like maybe for young children or young adults, sometimes they may be very sure that this is what I really want to do, and maybe their parents think that no, you become a doctor,
Right.
engineer. But if they are able to convince that to their father, mother, parents, or whoever, that no, this is my right choice, and allow me to go and do this and pursue it, I'll be really happy. I'm sure that even the family members will slowly get convinced.
So I think this session is also necessary, the convincing session,
The
to talk
convincing
to
session,
others in
yes.
your circle, like, why you want to decide it. So
Very true. And actually sometimes we become very inhibited. We feel ki if I share whatever I'm feeling, what will the other person think, or what if my father or mother, they won't, if they don't agree, then I'll feel disappointed, so I won't say. All these inhibitions are there. But that is what, when we become a little more mindful and present and aware, then even I think you should not be afraid of saying whatever and discussing whatever you want to say. Even if suppose they don't agree, it's okay. At least you have tried to, convince them. And sometimes it happens that after some time, maybe, they get
right.
convinced.
And how was your when you said that you had to write a book and publish it? how was your experience for the first time publication? Because you know,
Yes.
writing to
Absolutely.
publicizing the book and then meeting the publishers
Yeah.
and getting the right publishers is also a challenge.
Very, very true. And it was one of the most enriching experience, because actually initially when I wrote, I had thought ki I'll give it for self-publishing. Like self-publishing, as you know, ki you give a story, you have to pay them and then they will
Right.
do it. So that can be done. And then when I showed the draft to one of my friends and editor, Suma, who had written the foreword also, so she was the editor of Life Positive, and she had written some articles earlier, so she knew me. When she read the few chapters, she said, "Ki Saroj, this is very nice, and I think we should try for traditional good publishers. If they don't accept it, we can go for self-publishing." So she suggested Hay House, because Hay House, as you know, they are very famous for self-help, personal growth, personal improvement. And in fact, right from childhood, I've been reading books of Hay House. Whenever I go to the airport, I would, first see, okay, self-help section, then there will be something from Hay House. So when I gave them this thing, after 2 or 3 months, the reply came that we like the first 3 chapters. Initially, they said, but let us see the whole thing. Then when I shared the whole thing, after again another 2-3 months, when they said that we are ready to publish it, I was on top of the moon. I couldn't believe it, and I was so happy. Then that, of course, they have their process. It takes a bit longer. It took 1 year for it to finally come.
Right.
And like right now, because this released in February. So yesterday I took the flight from Delhi to Pune. So in Delhi, I always, whenever I go, I first go to the W.H. Smith bookstore,
Okay.
to see for any new books. So I just asked, is this book RXforResilience there? So first the person at the counter said, no sir, I have not heard. Then he said, let me see. And in fact, I then spotted the book, very prominently. There were 10 copies. I was so excited. I called him. He said, हाँ sir, ये तो आया है. लोग पसंद कर रहे हैं. So he said, आप ही हैं इसके author. So he asked me to, do a signing and some photographs. So I was really very thrilled.
Right.
So, always when you have been right from, your childhood days, looking at books in the airport or stations and all, and when you see your own book, I think it's a very rewarding experience.
Right, true. It really must be. So what is your plan now? Are you planning to launch any other new book now?
Yeah. So this one it's been 2 months. So like I've come to Pune also to kind of be having an event in the evening to promote it. And the feedback actually has been quite very encouraging.
Yes.
I have got feedback from various people. Young people have liked it a lot, because there's something for them on creativity, happiness, and all these things, habits. They like it. Then especially people who have been moved have been people who have faced some very challenging episode. Something like their life has fallen apart. It could be for someone the death of some loved members, or divorce or separation or something. And they said the process which I have outlined of acceptance, surrender, being present, that has really helped them. And actually that makes me very happy, that even if 1 or 2 people are influenced and it affects their life in some way, that is the most important reward for an author. And other people also, when they like about the being and doing things, so that they say that we have been practicing it and it has helped us such a lot. So these are the things. And right now I've been invited for various talks by corporates,
Right.
and other thing. And in the background there is a thing, okay, if I have to write another book, what will it be? So there are some ideas. So definitely I would like to write another book and give more talks on it, and have more sessions, because what I feel is that we are all of us, say if we are here, 4 of us, and so many viewers, everyone has the same kind of goal, which is to be more happy and to be more at peace. Whatever we are doing, with whichever profession we are. We may be a student, a homemaker, a mother, a professional, a corporate CEO. All of us have finally that one aim. Whatever we are doing is to be more happy and more at peace. And the whole message of the book is about how we can be more happy and more at peace. So this is what my aim is, and I want to spread this to people, that just we need to pause a bit, just step back a bit, savor, enjoy what we have, so that life actually becomes a flow. And whatever we are doing, however, we may have a lot of pressures, a lot of responsibilities, but when we give a little time to ourselves also, we'll be able to serve people better and do our work also better.
Right. So I think it was a very elaborate and very nice discussion, a good time. Any message you would like to give the
viewers? Yeah. Thank you so much, Rashmi. I think you conducted the interview and your questions were so insightful that it brought out all the essence. And the message which I would give the viewers is, one is, I would say, make happiness your goal. Have all your dreams and ambitions, but always see that whatever it is, that fulcrum should be of happiness. Be more present. Whatever is happening, be more aware and present. Say yes to this moment. This is what I've written in the book. Sometimes things happen which are not to our liking, but when we resist it, we cause suffering. So just be open and present and say yes to what is happening. Just accept it and do whatever best you can do. So these are the things I would like to share with others. And if you get time, please do read the book and share your feedback. That will be so wonderful.
Right. So thank you, Dr. Saroj Dubey, that you were here with us. And once again, would like to wish you all the best for your hobbies, your future endeavor, and maybe, bringing something very good like this book. It's a really enriching journey, that being a physician, you are into something where it is beyond being a doctor, and reaching out to everybody. So as a token of love, we would like to present you this.
So wonderful.
So I think,
and thank you again, Rashmi, and your whole team, and you're doing such a fabulous job, by doing something which you enjoy, and you are, making others also so happy by your interviews and contents.
Right. Yes. So I would like to have a signatured copy of the mug.
Sure.
You can sign it. To give you a signatured copy from Lai Bhai Puneri. So this is something where you can always keep with you.
Yes, this will be, in my memory, and it will be the prominent place in my house. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And wishing Lai Bhai Puneri all the best, and Rashmi, all the best.
So whenever you're in Pune, we will plan for some sessions. Or
it will be my pleasure, and I hope that we again have such a conversation soon.
Thank you so much.